Hello, welcome to Tiberius Says Shit. Today, I'm just gonna talk about bullet journaling for a minute. I bullet journal. Well, sort of. I used to do it actually on a physical journal, and now I just use an online database called Notion. If you haven't heard of it, it's pretty good if you're into like designing your own web pages. It's mostly for business stuff, but I use it for personal stuff too. It's kind of the best thing ever, in my opinion. I like to make a lot of layouts and shit for fun. You can find a lot of free templates online. You can find a lot of templates you can pay to get online. The personal version is free. I don't pay for this. It's very helpful, but I used to bullet journal. And when you see a lot of bullet journaling stuff online, you'll see a lot of like, oh, organize your life. Oh, here are all these tasks. And that's how it started for me. I had tried to bullet journal in high school. And then my senior year, I was doing online because of COVID. And I really just needed a place to organize my life. Like, everything was chaotic. I had already been struggling pre-lockdown. Lockdown hits. I now have the one routine I have whipped out from under my feet, like, that really sucks. You gotta figure out somehow to deal with it. So, bullet journaling. I just got one of my old empty journals that I hadn't used and just started writing out a basic morning routine. Started it very small, Remember to use deodorant, remember to brush your teeth, remember to eat breakfast. That kind of stuff. Started very small. Now I have 2 years later, 3 years later? Yeah, about 3. I have a giant ass fucking morning routine and night routine that have changed periodically. When you look up bullet journaling stuff, you'll see all kinds of stuff, right? Like, you'll see people do the most minimalist thing ever. You'll see people call themselves minimalists but still have a billion doodles on the page. You'll see people create the most elaborate, insane fucking thing you've ever seen ever. And you sit there and you're like, holy shit, I can't do that. But the secret is you don't have to do that. It's not a secret. If you go and watch the original bullet journal, the guy who coined the term and started the company and stuff, you go look at his stuff. He does minimalist stuff. Bullet journaling is all about your needs and your wants and how it benefits you specifically. There's no competition in it, The internet inherently generates competition. We live in a society where people capitalize on things because that's how you survive in a society where you have to earn money by capitalizing on things. But despite social media showing all the nice and fancy bullet journaling, at the end of the day, none of that matters. At the end of the day, it's about you and your wants and your needs. When you talk to people who tried to bullet journal and then had to stop because it was too hard, usually it's because they were trying too hard at it, because they wanted it to be something perfect. But if it's perfect, it's not really a journal, is it? Journaling's about what you need out of it and what humans need, what people need, what animals need. It's never perfect. There's nothing perfect about having to masticate food multiple times a day. There's nothing perfect about needing to drink a certain amount of water, otherwise your blood gets too thick and then you have to get hospitalized. There's nothing perfect about fucking pooping, pissing, shitting. Like, there's nothing perfect about that. People aren't perfect. Bullet journaling isn't meant to be perfect, it's meant to be you. You're a person and you're messy and you're complicated, and that's just how it is. Bullet journals are meant to be a place to try to keep a system of all that messiness. I used to, when I first tried to bullet journal, you know, it was too much effort. I was trying too hard. I was already regularly journaling, like I kept a diary sort of thing. Like every day, multiple times a day, was pouring out all of my anxieties ever into it, you know? And that was great for me, but trying to keep organized in the same place just wasn't really working. So then later when I went back to it, I still poured all my anxieties into that, but the organization was more about the same sort of like self-care shit to prevent those anxieties. Not prevent, to ease the impact of those anxieties. Like, I kind of just I was like, okay, if I don't eat breakfast, I have very anxious mornings. Okay, morning routine, have it include eating breakfast, you know? Just stuff like that. Oh, if I drink sleepy time tea, I'll sleep better. And if I sleep better, I'll be less, like, depressed or anxious or whatever the fuck, you know? I bullet journaled to try and make sense of my own messiness. And it worked. I never really wanted to at first move to online journaling, but I became a basically like full-time 5 days a week babysitter for a toddler. So, you know, it's very hard to journal when there's a little kid constantly stealing your notebook. It's hard to find time to sit down. I really like, there's a certain amount of admiration in my heart for like any parents ever, you know, just because, like, holy shit, like, God, I love that kid, but holy hell, it's a lot of work to be a parent. And so bullet journaling can be a way to organize messiness, but if you can't access that organization system, then it's not really going to work, you know? So I moved to Notion. I moved to online bullet journaling, essentially. And I started small. I kept my basic routine in there. I kept a journal page in there, you know? And it eventually just grew as my needs grew, as I realized, oh, I struggle with this, okay, I'll make a Notion for it. I can't do this, okay, I'll make a Notion for it. And something Notion gave me that I struggled with in bullet journaling is that you can change your Notion layout and thing whenever, spontaneously. Now, you can always, like, make a new bullet journal layout, but, like, I was able to keep my current data that was on my pages and then just change it. Like, if I have, like, a purple robot theme, changing to a green nature theme doesn't take that much, you know? It's really hard to, like, have a solid sense of identity sometimes. So being allowed to have a place that is, for me, for my needs and being able to change it while I change was extremely helpful, both when physically bullet journaling and digitally bullet journaling. Having an item or a place or a thing that you can take with you and change with you and can grow with you, that's helpful. There's a thing in psychology talking about adults that keep their stuffed animals, or even just older kids who have their stuffed animals or their blankets or whatever from childhood. They're called, like, I think, transition objects. It's just solid things from your childhood, or in this case, just like an earlier time, that can help you through the changes of life. I still have my first Build-A-Bear ever. That thing is so, like, her fur is just so messy. I still have her. Alright? That girl's seen so many crying, sad, anxious nights when I was a kid. That girl's seen multiple divorces. That, like, all this stuff. And the inherent human need for, like, connection and comfort. Like, even people who, like, don't want it, like, they find it in other things. If someone has a hard time connecting with people in person, they might connect to a fandom space online, or they might connect with animals, or they might just, like, connect with video games. Like, even if you struggle with connection to other people, you still try to be connected to something, you know? There's something, like, inherently beautiful about that. This isn't at all what I originally planned on talking about. I feel like, my phone's in my pocket. Okay, cool. I feel like what I was originally going to talk about kind of hits a different note of the same point, though. Hold on, let me open it. I hope it's still recording. I can see the blue thing, so I assume. Oh, another thing about Notion is that I have a very hard time with physical journaling sometimes due to fine motor control. It's very hard for me to keep up. And also my thoughts are just very fast, so typing is usually easier. I have very messy handwriting. It's very much nice to be able to choose between whether I want to journal or type. It really just depends, but it's journaling's just like, I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you understand? It's so vital and crucial for so many people to have a private place to, like, just dump their thoughts out. It doesn't have to make sense. That's something I see people struggle with sometimes, that I've struggled in the past. They're like, oh, I can't journal because it doesn't, like, I don't make any sense. You're not supposed to make sense. Like, if that's your goal, write a novel or a biography or some shit. You know, journaling's about pouring your heart and soul out. Hearts and souls don't make sense. If they did, we wouldn't need, like, a billion religions, would we? Everyone would just understand. But we don't. We don't understand. We're humans filled with a billion philosophical questions from the age of like 2, right? Probably before then, but we just can't word them, right? You just like, you inherently as a kid just want to learn so much about the world, and that doesn't go away. It's just whether or not you have the time and the energy to keep pouring into that. You don't stop learning when you graduate high school. Learning never stops. You're doing it your entire life. If you think you've stopped learning, then you either don't understand that learning doesn't have to be in an academic context, or you're living a very stagnant, non-moving, almost fucking like Truman Show life. Except for even he learned things and eventually got out of there, so you know, who fucking knows? What I was originally gonna talk about was just kind of a ramble I have screenshots of that I sent to my friends at midnight one night. I hadn't gotten much sleep the night before. I was up really late. I had been feeling like shit. And then I just like started reorganizing my notion and rethinking if I wanted to physically journal some again or not. And I kind of ramble and I just say, ideal, perfect, fantastic, wonderful. I'm a genius beyond belief. I am the ultimate ruler. I am the god of my domain. I am the supreme champion. I am the god of organizing, of creation, of idealizing reality, of everyone and everything. This is it. This is what's been missing. This is the genius that is my psyche. This is the future. This is the ultimate balance between man and technology. What is technology if not mortal and God at the same moment? What are we but not beings that create and are full of drive? Does creation not make one a god? And then I say, I think I'm a bit wild because of how intense my emotions are, which is why I daydream so much, because I was told my emotions were too much, so I have to come up with situations that justify the level of emotion I experience, which is why metaphors are so appealing to me. It's appealing to be able to tell someone you're so angry you're making the ground melt, that your fear is a storm raging in an ocean, that your grief is the tides and your laughter is the valleys. It's appealing to be able to express how angry you are through metaphors of great battles. It's appealing to imagine yourself as being powerful in a way that allows you to externalize your emotions like telekinesis that will rage things around you when you're upset. It's appealing to be. It's appealing to feel. It's appealing to make situations you feel justify your emotional state. I am the whirlwind. I am the sea. I am the sun, I am the moon, I am the sky. I am the stars, I am the bugs, I am the grass, I am the flowers, I am the playground. I am the cemetery, I am an angel, I am a demon, I am a lover, I'm a fighter, I'm a beast, I am nothing, I am everything. I am human, therefore I am complicated, therefore I do not fit in a box, therefore I will be put into a great multitude of boxes. When you've been taught that you're wrong to feel basic things like anger and sadness, when you've been taught that you are too much and you try to think of what you could possibly be besides human, you try to come up with what in this galaxy could explain you. With what form could you possibly take that would allow you to exist and maybe even be feared and explain you why you are othered and ostracized? So you are no longer a child, you are a dragon guarding its kingdom, you are a monster protecting itself in what little forest space it has left to grow. You are a beast, you are a wolf, you are a tiger, you are something, and it is sharp and can hurt and should be feared. You are something that you view as perfect and how others view as scary because you've been taught that fear is how you earn respect. You've been taught that in order to be evil they say that you must absolutely be a monster. But then you realize that you're not alone, and that there are other monsters, and that you must not be evil, and that monsters are good, and that you are good. And that the biggest evil is the people who treated you like you were a monster. And you learn to love monsters and all they represent, and all they do to keep themselves safe with the mountains of disbelief that you face, and that you have been taught make you awful and horrible.